Somebody's knocking now at the door. Special delivery, it is the Lord. He's not a stranger, He is your friend. He is the answer, so let Him come in.
Right now is the right time to get right.
Get right with God.
Right now.
Right now is the right time. Get right with God. Don't put it off another day.
Don't wait.
Don't wait. Don't delay.
Right now.
Right now is the right time. Get right with God. Between here and heaven, you know where you stand. You know the story, you know the plan. Why keep on seeking? 'Cause you know the way. Come to the Father, this is your day.
Right now is the right time to get right.
Get right with God. Right now is the right time. Get right with God. Don't put it off another day.
Don't wait.
Don't delay.
Right
Right now is the right time.